The case of Leanne Tiernan is a haunting reminder of how darkness can hide in plain sight. Leanne, a bright 16-year-old from Bramley, Leeds, was loved by all who knew her. Her tragic murder in November 2000 shattered her family and sent shockwaves through the community, sparking one of West Yorkshire's largest police investigations. This case not only exposed a hidden predator, but also showcased the power of forensic science and the relentless pursuit of justice. As we revisit her story, we're reminded of the fragility of life and the importance of vigilance in our communities. On November 26, 2000, Leanne Tiernan, a bright and cheerful 16-year-old, spent a crisp Sunday afternoon Christmas shopping with her best friend Sarah in the heart of Leeds. The city was alive with the excitement of the holiday season, twinkling lights, busy shoppers, and the promise of festivities just around the corner. For Leanne and Sarah, it was a day filled with laughter, shared secrets, and the simple joy of friendship. As the afternoon faded into early evening, the girls parted ways at a familiar Bramley bus stop. Leanne, bundled in her winter coat, began her short walk home along Holy Gill, a wooded footpath she'd taken countless times before. The route was quiet, lined with bare trees and the soft crunch of leaves underfoot, a shortcut she knew well and had always felt safe taking. But as darkness settled over Leeds, Leanne's mother, Sharon, began to worry. The minutes ticked by and the house grew quieter. Sharon glanced anxiously out the window, hoping to see her daughter's familiar silhouette appear at the gate. Growing uneasy, Sharon began calling Leanne's friends, hoping for reassurance. Each call brought the same answer. Leanne had left for home as planned, and no one had seen her since. The sense of unease deepened into dread. As night fell and Leanne still hadn't returned, panic set in. The Tiernan family contacted the police, their voices trembling with fear. Officers arrived quickly, understanding that every moment was precious in a missing person case. Word spread rapidly through the neighborhood. Neighbors and friends gathered, flashlights in hand, forming search parties that combed the woods and footpaths, calling out Leanne's name into the cold night air. The community's hope was palpable, but so was the growing fear. Police quickly retraced Leanne's last known steps, focusing their efforts on the secluded woodland path. They searched for any clue, a dropped item, a footprint, anything that might explain her sudden disappearance. Officers went door to door, questioning residents and searching for witnesses, but the isolated nature of the path meant few people had seen anything, and the lack of evidence raised chilling fears of an ambush or abduction. The first 24 hours were critical. Police issued urgent public appeals, and Leanne's face appeared on posters, in newspapers, and across television screens. The search for Leanne became the focus of the entire city. The tight-knit Bramley community rallied together, holding vigils and supporting the Tiernan family. But as hours turned into days, fear and uncertainty grew, casting a shadow over the neighborhood. Leanne had vanished without a trace. The investigation was just beginning, but for her family and community, life had already changed forever. The search for answers, and for Leanne, had only just begun. Leanne's disappearance triggered one of West Yorkshire's largest manhunts. Police visited over 10,000 homes, searching woodlands, parks, and even draining part of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Despite exhaustive efforts, no clues emerged. Her abductor had left no trace. Leanne's parents made emotional public appeals, and the case dominated headlines. As weeks passed, hope faded and fear gripped the community. The search continued into the new year, but Leanne remained missing. 9 months later, on August 20th, 2001, a dog walker in Lindley Wood, 16 miles from Bramley, made a chilling discovery. His dog uncovered a shallow grave containing a body wrapped in 9 green plastic bin bags bound with twine. Forensic analysis confirmed the worst. It was Leanne Tiernan. The discovery ended months of uncertainty for her family and shifted the investigation to a murder inquiry. The remote locations suggested the killer knew the area well. The careful wrapping and burial pointed to a methodical, experienced perpetrator. Police focused on the unique materials found at the scene, hoping for a forensic breakthrough. The hunt for Leanne's killer intensified. The forensic search of Leanne's grave marked a turning point in the investigation. As officers carefully sifted through the earth, they uncovered two items that would become central to the case: a dog collar and a scarf. These weren't just ordinary objects. They were silent witnesses to a terrible crime, holding secrets that would soon be revealed. The scarf, heartbreakingly, belonged to Leanne herself. Both the scarf and the dog collar had been used as ligatures, a chilling detail that spoke to the brutality of the crime. But it was the dog collar that truly caught investigators' attention. It was an unusual make, not something commonly found in local pet stores. This detail suggested the killer might have a specific connection to dogs, perhaps as an owner or even as a poacher familiar with the countryside. Forensic scientists meticulously examined the scarf in the lab, searching for any trace evidence. Under the microscope, they discovered several hairs tangled in the fabric. These hairs were not Leanne's, raising the possibility that they belonged to her killer. DNA testing was quickly ordered. The results were conclusive. The hairs matched John Taylor, a local delivery driver with a reputation for poaching. Taylor was no stranger to the area, and his name had surfaced before in connection with suspicious activities. Acting on this breakthrough, police obtained a warrant and searched Taylor's home. Inside, they found a roll of distinctive twine, the very same type used to bind Leanne's body. This discovery further cemented Taylor's link to the crime. Now the evidence was overwhelming. The dog collar, the scarf, the twine, and the DNA all pointed directly to Taylor. Each piece fit together, forming a damning picture of guilt. Investigators began to build a detailed profile of their suspect. Taylor was a man with deep local knowledge, skilled in navigating the outdoors and capable of hiding in plain sight, but beneath the surface he harbored a dark and dangerous secret. With the evidence mounting, Taylor's arrest was now only a matter of time. As news of the investigation spread, the community was gripped by fear and disbelief. The realization that the killer had been living among them, blending into everyday life, sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. The case had finally exposed the truth, but it left a community forever changed. John Taylor's arrest sent shockwaves through his quiet Yorkshire neighborhood. No one could have imagined that the man they greeted every morning was hiding such a dark secret. The news spread quickly, leaving residents in disbelief and fear as they tried to reconcile the friendly face they knew with the horrifying headlines now flashing across their television screens. To everyone around him, Taylor was the picture of normalcy. A hard-working delivery driver, a devoted family man, and a neighbor who always seemed willing to lend a hand. He was known for his love of animals, often seen walking his dog or chatting about wildlife. Some even admired his knowledge of the local woods, never suspecting that this interest masked a far more sinister obsession. But behind closed doors, Taylor led a double life. He was a calculating predator, meticulously planning his every move. His calm demeanor and unassuming appearance allowed him to hide his true nature from everyone, even those closest to him. Taylor's deep familiarity with the Yorkshire woods became his greatest weapon. He knew every hidden path and secluded spot, which allowed him to abduct Leanne with chilling precision. He lured her away, confident that he could conceal both his actions and her body from the world. On that fateful day, he ambushed Leanne on Hopefully Gill, a place he knew well. He took her back to his home, where he strangled her with a dog collar, a tool he kept for his pets, now twisted into an instrument of murder. The calculated brutality of his actions stunned investigators. In a further act of cold calculation, Taylor stored Leanne's body in a chest freezer in his garage for months, hiding the evidence in plain sight. When he finally felt the risk of discovery was too great, he buried her in the remote Lindley Wood, using his knowledge of the land to ensure she would not be found. Despite the horror of his crime, Taylor continued to live among his neighbors, blending seamlessly into everyday life. He attended local events, visited the pub, and exchanged pleasantries with those around him, all while carrying the weight of his secret. His ability to appear utterly ordinary allowed him to evade suspicion for years. When police finally pieced together the evidence, they uncovered a chilling level of planning and a complete lack of remorse. Taylor's actions were not impulsive. They were the result of careful, deliberate choices, revealing a mind capable of extraordinary deception. The capture of John Taylor shattered the illusion of safety in his community, exposing the terrifying reality that true monsters can hide behind the most ordinary faces, living undetected among us for years. After Taylor's conviction, police suspected he had offended before. Using DNA advances, they linked him to a series of rapes and assaults dating back to 1977. Taylor had preyed on women and children for over 2 decades, attacking victims in isolated locations. One of his most disturbing crimes was the 1984 abduction and assault of a 7-year-old girl. In total, Taylor was linked to 16 additional historical offenses, including rape, kidnapping, and indecent assault. The cold case team finally gave his victims a name and a face. Taylor was not a one-time killer. He was a seasoned predator who had evaded justice for years. His true history was even darker than anyone had imagined. In 2002, John Taylor was found guilty of Leanne Tiernan's murder and sentenced to life in prison. Later, after admitting to 16 more historical crimes, he received a whole life order, ensuring he will never be released. Taylor is now incarcerated at HM Prison Wakefield, known as Monster Mansion. The whole life sentence protects society and brings some closure to his many victims. For Leanne's family and others he hurt, justice was finally served. Taylor's case stands as a warning about the dangers that can lurk behind ordinary lives. His decades of terror ended only when forensic science and relentless police work caught up with him. He will die behind bars, never able to harm again. Even with Taylor behind bars, questions remain, especially about the unsolved 1996 murder of Deborah Wood. Deborah was last seen at Big Lil's pub in Leeds, a place Taylor frequented. Her burned body was found days later in Burnley, and her killer has never been officially identified. Taylor's known presence at the pub and his history of violence make him a prime suspect. Deborah's family continues to seek answers, and police are re-examining evidence with modern forensic techniques. Her case is a stark reminder that some victims' stories remain unresolved, even when a notorious killer is caught. The search for truth continues, fueled by the hope that justice will one day be served.